Hey, good morning. Happy first Monday of 2022. It's your girl TinaBeana, and I'm kicking off my page. Is what it do. So I just want to give you a little bit of a backstory of who I am, what my goal is, what I'm pushing towards, and how this involves you, or how it could involve you. I don't know. You approach a new year and it's new year, new me, new year, new me. Everybody got these resolutions and stuff. I do goals, and I do goals all through the year. I do it. Sometimes I change them. Sometimes I upgrade them. Sometimes I downgrade them. Sometimes it's a whole new goal altogether. But, I'm pushing towards my purpose constantly, daily. And I'm going to keep doing that because I need progress. I'm the type of person, I need regimen, I need progress, I need to consistently be moving. I can't be inconsistent. It doesn't work well for me. And I don't like stagnation. I'm not going to just be standing still. So either you're going to be moving with me or you just going to get out the way or you're going to get run over. I don't know. So you choose what position you're going to be in. And that's just what it is. So I created a um, accountability workbook. It's called TinaBeana's 6-month accountability and transformation workbook. It is available on Amazon. I have several different versions of it, and I've named them differently because you can't have different versions of the same thing, the same exact name, and different pictures in the front. But anyway, if you go on Amazon and you search for my government name, Martina L. France, or you search Tina Beana's accountability, you should be able to find my books. But there are several different versions on it. Basically, it's a workbook to help you stay productive, stay consistent, stay dedicated towards your goals, whatever they may be. And I'm not here to tell you what goals to have and how you need to do it and this and that. Nah, it's just something to help you stay on track. Because we fall off track and then we're hard on ourselves when we do. And we got to stop doing that. Be kind to you. It's okay. You're going to mess up. You're going to have hard days. You're going to have days where you stop. You're going to have days where you want to give up. You're going to have days where you do absolutely quit. But then you turn around. It's like, nah, I got to keep doing this for me. So that's what this book is for. It's not heavy reading at all. It's a workbook. So you fill it out. You do it. It just helps you stay consistent. So there are 30-day challenges in it. There are like guided journaling for you to just kind of write out your thoughts. There's questions for you to answer to just kind of get you thinking about where you are in life, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. There's a ton of things in there. There's suggestions on books to read to help you. Like reading is fundamental. Like there's so much I would not have ever known had I not picked up a book and read, and read it. So, I'm just here to help. That's all. And I'm on a journey myself. So I just wanted to open up um, and share my journey because you're not alone. You're not the only person pushing towards something. And I know that I'm not by myself. And I know that there's some people that just need a push. There's some people that need motivation. There's some people that just want company. They want help. They want to know that somebody else feels what they feel and know what they know and, have experienced the different things that they've experienced or that they just can relate. And I'm that person. Okay, I've been picked up, I've been dropped down, I've been shaken all around. I've been through some stuff, but I'm still here. I'm still standing. And am I where I want to be 100%? No, I'm not. And it's all good as long as you don't stop and you don't quit for good. Then it's all good. Like you're gonna keep moving, and that's what it is. So let me give you a backstory. I am currently a single mom of 3. It didn't start out that way. I was married. I was in love. That didn't work out, and it wasn't going very well. There was a lot of stuff. And I start with that because before that, I wouldn't say that I had experienced too much in life. I've experienced things, but maybe not to this degree. Like it takes for you to be in something that all your heart is completely invested before you realize how high you can go and how low you can go, if that makes any sense. So I've hit my highest highs, and I was at a point where I had hit my absolute lowest low. Now let me explain to you what low was. We were homeless, um, going through the homeless shelter in the system in New York. That was, oh my God, that was horrific. It was very hard, and I got us out of it. We were finally in our own place, and it was just trauma. Um, there was abuse, there was fights, there was just no peace. Um, and I was self-medicating. No, not hard drugs. I was smoking weed, I was drinking, but that was out of my norm, you know. Um, not saying I had never done it before, but I was drinking heavy. I was smoking heavy, and I had 3 young babies, and they didn't get the attention from me that they should have gotten at that time. And I know people are like, why are you telling your business? Because you know what? You go through things to help people, to help other people. And keeping my story to myself, who is that helping? You know, I tell my kids my story because I want them to know better. So if I can help anybody else and teach them better, show them better so they can do better and be better, why not? You know? But anyway, I um, was diagnosed with depression. So I was clinically, medically depressed. I was on medication for it. Um, I had dropped down to 65 pounds. I was already skinny to begin with. I was already a stick. I was like 100 pounds, if that, soaking wet. And I was down to 65 pounds. I was wearing a children's size 10. And I was 30 years old. Okay? So, a grown woman, I'm wearing a kid's size 10. Little girl, size 10. Underwear, pants, shirts. I was nothing. There were rumors going around saying that I was sick. Somebody had started a rumor, oh, she's sick. She got, yeah. I was stressed. I was depressed. I was hurt. I was at my rock bottom. At the bottom of the bottom. And I had just decided one day enough was enough. And I packed up my kids and we left the state and moved out of state to where my mom lived and started over. I had gotten a 2-bedroom apartment. Mind you, I had 3 children. So I gave my kids the bedrooms and I slept on the couch for 3 whole years. Um, worked, made a good amount of money, decent amount of money to be able to move into a better place. And I moved out of there into a 4-bedroom home, 3 full bathrooms, living room, family room, nice yard, and let my ex back in. Like, we decided to reconcile after 3 years. A year into trying to reconcile, it went sour again. It was going really, really bad. Not as bad as what it was, but it was going pretty bad. And I had just decided my 35th birthday was coming up, and I'm like, you know, I just can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore. And this can't be life. Like, there's so much more. I don't want to argue with someone every day. I don't want to feel like I have to walk on eggshells in my own home. I don't want to not be able to make decisions and be confident in my decisions, or feel like I'm supported. You like worry about being supported in my decisions. I hated the job that I worked at. I only got the car that I was driving because it was like I needed a car, but I had been driving that car for so many years. I was just done. So I decided nobody's gonna choose for me anymore. No, nobody. is going to have the power over me. Excuse me. Is going to have power over me to where I'm not doing the things I want to do. And I want to live. And I want to live in every moment. And I want to take in every opportunity, every chance, every moment that I can. It was just at that point that I realized every second, every minute counted. It counts. And it only counts if I make it count. Because otherwise it's just a waste of time. And I look back and I'm like, Dad, I'm 34, going on 35. And what have I done with my life? I didn't go to college. I was at a job I hated. I hated my car. I was in a bad relationship. My kids are just growing. And I think that was what really brought it to reality for me. I'm like, not too long ago, these were babies. My kids are growing. Like they had their own social media. I'm like, you're growing, you're getting big, and it's not slowing down. What the heck? So I decided, okay, the change starts now, immediately. And I didn't tell anybody that I was making all these changes. I just started to write down my goals. What do I want to do? First, I looked at where I am. What are the things that I'm not happy with right now? Like what have I allowed that I should not have? And after I figured that out, then I started to write down, well, where do I want to be? What do I want? What do I need to happen? And I never traveled outside of the country, which is crazy because I come from a Caribbean family. I've never been outside of the country. I was driving a car I hated. I was in a bad relationship. I was at a job I hated. My parenting. I wasn't even parenting the way that I wanted to. I had been doing really, really well when I left and I was on my own. But then with the influence back into my home, I wasn't where I wanted to be. Like it just wasn't ideal. And I decided, okay, things are going to change. The house that I lived in, I'd never decorated. I didn't decorate anything. My walls were bare. My furniture was like, you know, nothing felt genuine. It was just like, this is what was given to me. Okay, so this is where I'm at. So I decided enough is enough. That year, I changed my job, flat out quit the job that I was at. And let me not tell it to you like that because I don't want you to think, okay, go ahead and quit your job and not have a backup plan. That's stupid. Don't do that. But I had been searching for a job, searching. Like I just immediately went into update my resume, put it out there, get to the job that I want, go after a company that I know I want to work at. I went after this company. I sought after a company that I wanted to work at, and I got the job. I interviewed for them for a good 5-6 different positions and finally got a position, and it was ideal for me. Got the position and I quit. The day I heard that I got the position, I quit my job that day. No 2 weeks, and that's probably not the best, but I was done. Enough was enough. I hated this job. I was done. So I quit the job. I filed for divorce, and before paperwork was even done, I was bringing home boxes and packing. Like before I was even done filing, I had just made up my mind that enough was enough, and I was done, and I'm just not doing it anymore. And I started bringing home boxes to pack up, and started packing. I'm like, I'm moving, and I'm gonna live in a neighborhood that I want to live in, or where I want to live. And I started packing up. I didn't even have a place yet to move to. It didn't matter to me. I just packed up, and I did end up finding a home, and we did end up going through the divorce and finalizing the divorce and all of that. I ended up buying a new car, and I bought a car I like. Is it a luxury car? No, but I fell in love with a car, and I bought what I wanted to have because I didn't have that before. I started school. I started my degree, my bachelor's degree. And it was weird because, you fill out those forms online. It's like, I want more information. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get a pamphlet. No, I'm getting all these phone calls now. They're calling you like, hey, you filled out something. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to read on my own. So I did that a couple of times and they would leave me alone and then finally call back. And then I had one person, I cannot remember her name. I wish I could remember her name. This one person called me back and she's like, okay, Martina, well, it sounds like you want to go back to school. I'm like, yeah, like I've been on a 17-year hiatus. It was 17 years between the time I graduated high school and the time I decided to go back to school and go to college. And I'm like, I've been out of school for 17 years. Like, I want to do this, but I suck at math. I'm not good at um other subjects. I could read, I can write, and I'm very good at reading and writing, but I was just really anxious about math and having to do formulas and stuff. And I worked in healthcare, so I'm like, oh my God, like you can't avoid math. And I don't know, I don't even know what I would major in. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, and I just kept giving all these excuses. And she's like, but she just kept asking me why. Well, why are you afraid of that? Well, why is that a problem? But why do you think you need to know all of this now? Like, why don't you understand that, you'll learn that once you in school? Why don't you think you'll have the support? Why don't you? She just kept asking me why. And I the more I gave excuses, the more I started thinking like, these are excuses. It sounds crazy, but I'm like, I'm answering and I'm firing them off, and I'm just thinking like, but no, that, now I'm doubting my excuses. And then finally she stopped and she said, Martina, how many years has it been? I said 17. She said, would you ever look back and thought that it would be 17 years between the time that you got out of school to the time that you would even be thinking about going back? And I'm like, no, I didn't. I mean, I'd done vocational, trainings and stuff like that and technical training, but full on college I hadn't done. And she's like, 17 years. She's like, didn't that go by fast? I'm like, yeah, it did. She's like, now, how fast does 4 years go by? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, you got kids, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, didn't 4 years go by really, really fast with your kids? I'm like, yeah. She's like, now, say you don't go to college, and I'm not forcing you to go, but say you don't go. Isn't the time going to pass anyway? I'm like, yeah. She's like, do you know how much you could have accomplished in that time? And it probably sounds so cliche and like, nobody ever said anything to you like that before. At the time, no. No one had ever said anything like that to me before. I just never thought about time that way. And I was at a pivotal point in my life where I was thinking about time. But I didn't think the time is going to pass anyway. And the time is passing. And it's going fast. And I have no control over it. I have no control. I can't stop it. I can't slow it down. I can't go back. There's nothing I can do with time. Time is so valuable. Why am I letting it just go? So I enrolled. And I'm like, man, and it was the best thing I had done. I felt so good. I felt so good. And while I'm trying to go through school, we were at the time going through the divorce, like and I know I'm giving the story, like the time sequence sounds so crazy and so off. But everything happened. It almost all blended and meshed together. So while we're going through the divorce, before I moved out, we were still living with each other. And I am trying to do schoolwork, and there were times where he would take the kids and let me do work, but there were plenty of times where it was like I am alone in the home, and I gotta cook, I gotta clean, I gotta mother, I gotta nurture, and I gotta do this schoolwork, and I gotta get this project done, and I gotta write this essay. And I was still having doubts about, should I stay in this relationship or not? Can we make it work? And I come from a very religious home. Well, one of my parents is very religious, and um, I kept getting, well, God is gonna work it out. God can work on him. God can work on him. God can change him. God can do this. God can do that by himself. God does not need TinaBeana in the mix. God does not need me around for you to fix somebody and change somebody and make them right. And they can be right for the next person. They do not have to be fixed and changed for me at this point. After we've tried everything that we can try, I had just come to like, I am done. So I'm doing schoolwork. I'm trying to do it all. Um, Fast forward, I'm out of the house. I'm on my own. And that was 2017. So 2017, I'm flourishing. I traveled out of the country for the first time. I did get the car. I did get the job. I did start school. I was parenting well. My money started coming up. Man, I was doing great. 2017, it did great. 2018, 2019, things were going well. Then boom, I had got word that, I think it was 2019. It was 2019. I I got sick. So I went for my annual exam, wellness, my woman exam, and I got my exam done, but it just didn't feel right. Something just didn't feel off. It was like the doctor's looking a little too hard. Like, what is going on? Something is not right. Like, what's different? But doctor's not saying anything. So a week goes by, 2 weeks goes by, and I get a call back. And I'm like, something is off. Like, I just knew, I just felt like something was off. It just wasn't right. And I get a call, and it's the nurse from my doctor's office, and she goes, Martina, we got your results back, and you have cancer. You have cervical cancer. And I'm like, what? But then I kind of felt settled. I felt like I knew something was wrong. I knew something was off. We'll figure it out. And I get off the phone with her. Like, she explains this and that. I get off the phone with her, and she calls me back a few minutes later. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Martina. I'm so sorry. I read that wrong. It's not cancer. You don't have cancer, but um, you have cancerous cells. So I'm like, well, what does that mean? She's like, well, if it goes untreated, then it's going to turn into cancer and blah, blah, blah. And, you have to come and we got to do a biopsy and this and that. Like, we got to do all these different tests and different things. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I had called my mom and my sister, my family, after this first call. So they heard I got cancer within 5 minutes. Like, they heard that. And then I called them back, like, oh my God, she called back and this is what she said, da da da. So they're like, okay, it was a sigh of relief. But as I'm going through all of the exams and the treatments and the this and the that, and my body is changing, and I'm warning, I might get a little graphic. I started bleeding, and I wouldn't stop. I had been on the shot for several years at this point, and I was on birth control shot, and I hadn't had any menstrual in a very long time. I wasn't supposed to have it. There would be moments where you have breakthrough, um, what they call breakthrough bleeding, where you just spot here and there, but not had ever had a full period in years, a very long time. So all of a sudden, I'm walking around having a regular day, and the next thing I know, it's like a full blown flow. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, what's going on? I just got my shot. Like, what's so figuring that out, and it would just be random, and it wasn't lasting. It was just random. I'm bleeding, and then I'm in pain, and then I'm like, something is wrong. Like, this is more than just some cells. Something is wrong. So now I'm going for more tests, and there's tumors growing in my uterus, in my uterine wall. the bleeding is heavier, like the cells are spreading, it's worse. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm not sharing all of this with the people that I love and I know, because now my mind is in survival mode. And my thought is, if this doesn't turn out well, what's going to happen to my children? Like, what's going to happen? I had been doing very well, but something else I didn't do was my financial planning. I didn't do that very well. I was living good, but I wasn't saving good. And I didn't have, there was no legacy. I didn't own any property. I had life insurance through my job, but if I pass away, I don't know who's claiming that. Like, I didn't even set up my beneficiaries right on my insurance. I didn't have anything outside of that to help my kids. There's no what do you call it, will, or like, where are my kids going? And I just couldn't think of, I'm not talking bad about my family. I love my family, but I just feel like, and everybody probably feels like this, at least I think so. Nobody's going to love my children the way that I love my children. Nobody's going to treat them the way that I do. Nobody's going to go out of their way and do the things that I do for them. Nobody's going to spend the time that I go on long walks with my kids. I play with them. We play video games and board games together. We have movie night. We all put on a onesie pajama, a flannel onesie pajama, and lay down in the living room and cuddle up on the couches and on the floor, and like, put pillows and blankets everywhere and lay down and just cuddle with each other and watch movies together. We cook together. We sing together. We dance together. I don't know anybody that's going to do that. And this is choking me up, because I still feel like I don't know anybody that's going to do that for my babies the way that I do it. So now I'm thinking, oh my God, what do I do? And I'm steady in school. I am steady working. I'm steady maintaining a home. I'm steady taking care of my kids by myself, mind you. I'm like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So I'm like, you know what? I'm strong. I'm Superwoman. I'm going to push through this. It's going to be okay. And I had the support of my family. But I was internalizing all of what I was going through and just kind of holding it in and trying to be Superwoman through it all. And let me tell you, don't do that. If you have an outlet, use it. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. But I going to the doctors and all of that, ended up having to do topical radiation treatment. And if you don't know what that is, they basically take an acid to your vagina, and there's like some type of there's something like, I think it's like some type of an apple cider vinegar mixture or something with numbing that they put first, right? Numb it and then put the apple cider vinegar, something like that first, because it shows the cells more, and then like it makes the cells show. And then they take it's it almost looks like I can't even explain it, but it's an acid, okay? A radioactive acid treatment, and it has like a long stem to spray out of, and they put it on the affected areas, and they spray that in there and burn off the areas that are affected, and it hurts. There's numbing, and yeah, like you get to be numb or whatever, so you're not feeling all of it, but it hurts. And on top of that, my doctor was removing the cells in the affected area, like cutting pieces of my cervix off. And it was scraping, and it it was scary for me. It was scary. And you're awake. You're not asleep. So I had to do that. I think I had 3 sessions of that. And I was supposed to be okay after the 3rd session, but I kept bleeding. I kept having pain. I kept having issues. And that was when we discovered that it was tumors and polyps growing in my uterine wall. And I remember being in the ultrasound room, and I'm telling the doctor, like, I'm still having pain. Like, I'm telling the doctor that he prescribes an ultrasound, and I get my ultrasound done, and the nurse or the tech, whoever it is that's doing the ultrasound, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced your doctor or your nurse or whoever your medical personnel is, when they get scared and they are like in shock and they're like panicking. It is the worst feeling in the freaking world, okay? It's not a good feeling. And so I'm laying there, and she's doing an internal ultrasound and looking at my uterine wall, and I have one ovary because I had one removed, and looking at my one ovary and looking at my uterus and looking at everything, and she's oh my God, oh, like she starts panicking, and she's calling, I need to call a doctor right away. She's calling the doctor right away. And I'm thinking that because I was in a room, the doctor calmed her down. She left, she came back, she left again, she came back, and now I'm laying there because I'm generally I am a fight or flight type person, but at the same time I'm an assess make an assessment before I react type of person as well. So I'm sitting here like watching and seeing what's going on, and she says, "You have all of these tumors in your uterine, like this is not supposed to be here." And she told me what she saw and everything, and she's like freaking out. And so my doctor was saying, basically, we had 2 options. He could put me on some type of a medication that would make me stop bleeding, or we could try to see if we can get an approval for a hysterectomy. And I'm like, well, what all are you taking with the hysterectomy? I had 3 kids at this point. I didn't want any more kids. And if I wasn't a person that wanted a whole lot of kids anyway, which 3 is a lot, but 1 was my goal. I surpassed that. But I'm like, let's do this hysterectomy. Like, let's get it out, because if we get everything out, then we're good. So I know I'm making this a super long story. I apologize. But anyway, I get the hysterectomy, and it was a fight to get it done. I'm not any longer with that doctor because there was no sense of urgency. He didn't even remember my chart, my record, my history, dealing with me after so many years of me. I had been with that doctor for like, I don't know, 7-8 years or something. And he every time it was like he didn't even know who I was when we came to this point of having to do surgery and all of that. He had no idea what my history was, the issues that I had been dealing with. Like, it was like so yeah, I'm no longer with that doctor. But I did let him do my surgery, which sounds crazy, but that was my sense of familiarity. Like, it would have been, to me, more scary going to somebody that I didn't know, even though, and that sounds crazy to say it out loud, even though he wasn't even sure of me. And I just needed some sense of normalcy, some sense of familiarity, because this was all just uncharted territory for me. Mind you, my dad had passed just a few years prior of cancer. So this was scary to me. This was really scary to me. But anyway, got through the surgery, and again, I had come to a point of time is important. I was considering what would happen to my children. Like, every second counted. I was trying to make sure that I spent as much time with them as possible, that we smiled and we laughed as much as possible, that I gave them great memories all through this time. And I was scared, and I was pushing it through school. At that time, I made it to the dean's list. I made it to the chancellor's list. I was like, I was on the collegiate, what is it? Oh my God, Society, the Collegiate Scholars. Just crazy because I don't even remember what it is. But I was in that. Um, I was doing very, very well. And then towards the end of it, like when surgery's approaching, I started failing because it was just a lot. And then I had gotten a new position. I was promoted at this job that I love so much. Excuse me. And that was a lot. And I started to not do so great at work because here I am trying to be Superwoman, you know, and it's just, things just started to kind of go downhill. But anyway, I recovered from the surgery. Things are starting to look up. But I messed up in school. Ended up taking a leave of absence in school. I was on a leave at work, something like 12 weeks or something like that. And I come back, and it's hard. It is hard because I had left on such a high to now I'm coming back at my bottom again and trying to figure out, okay, how do I come from my bottom and get back to such a high expectation that I set for myself? How do I get back to that? And it was hard. I failed 3 terms of school consecutively, back to back, failed, and had a hard time getting myself back into the grind of doing schoolwork and working and taking care of the kids, and not just working. I was in management, so leading a team that was very difficult. It was really hard for me, and managing my home by myself and dealing with whatever situation I was still going through with my ex at the time. So we was like, that was through the bickering and arguing, fighting time. And you go through that, the bitterness. I was just a lot, dealing with a lot. And I got through it though. Then here we go, 2020. COVID comes. People are dying all around. People are sick all around. Things are shut down. The children are home. Businesses are closing. Police brutality. There's racism and all of this stuff happening. And I find myself, after working my way up, I'm on an upward climb, back at a rock bottom again. Because I had failed school those 3 terms, that costs money. So I'm responsible for those 3 terms, right? I had 3 terms left of school, and I was forced to drop out. With 3 terms left to my degree, forced to drop out because I couldn't afford it. And then I found out that my job had just started a new program to pay for me to finish my degree completely free. So I'm like, okay, yeah, here I am, back on the rise. 2020, I was buying my first house. Found a home. It was amazing, breathtaking, beautiful. It was a condo, but that was what I wanted. And it fit everything that everything on my checklist. It was there. And we're down to the wire. Got everything approved. I got my final approval from the bank, like my confirmation that they're going to go through with it and everything. And then my underwriter quits her job. Has nothing to do with me. She just quits her job. And I get a new underwriter on my file. This new underwriter decides to re-review my file while I'm waiting on my closing date. I'm done with everything I needed to do as far as finding a home, being approved for the home, getting first time home buyer programs approved, and putting in all my paperwork and all of the things that it takes to buy a home. I'm done. I've done all of that. And she decides, we're just flat out not going to approve you. I had gotten rid of all my furniture in my current house, my children's beds. I got rid of all of their furniture in their rooms and stuff because they were getting brand new furniture. I was giving the stuff away. I wasn't selling. I gave it away. I gave away my living room set. I gave away my diners. I didn't have any furniture in my home. I had bought new furniture. Some of it was still sitting in the store waiting on a pickup. Some of it was delivered to the new house and sitting in the garage waiting on me to get it moved into the house. Some of it was here at my house, just in a box waiting to be assembled. Like there was bunk beds and things waiting to be assembled. I had spent all of my savings because now I'm denied. I had all this furniture that I bought. Now I had all this furniture that I needed to buy on top of that. I needed to pay again to have the moving company move things from the new house to where I am now. And it was such a smack in the face. Like I told everybody, I'm moving, I'm buying a house of that. And everybody's like proud and, happy and supportive. And that's, my friends, why you don't tell people you moves. Not just because it's embarrassing if it doesn't happen, but not just because of that. But I have no idea who's talking what about me and who's speaking negatively on my moves. Who's putting things out in the atmosphere that are contradictory to what I need to happen. But now I had to pay for all of that. So boom, 2020, that was 2 hits. Next thing, I am kind of going through it with my boss. I felt like there was just a lot of, it was a lot going on at work. And I don't think that my leader at the time liked the fact that I had so much influence. And I was somewhat in a powerful position. I wasn't very high in a ranking in a company, but I was in leadership. But I had a lot of influence. And here I am, this young Black woman, powerful, dynamic person, because I am. She doesn't bite her tongue. I mean, professionally, of course, I'm presenting myself professionally, but I'm not a sit down and shut up person. I'm not a just, you could tell me whatever you want to tell me to do and I'm just going to do it person. No, I do play devil's advocate. I do ask hard questions. I do want to understand. I do seek out information. All of that. And he wanted a shut up little Black girl. And that's the only way I can think of it, because I don't know what else. I don't know how else to put it. But I lost my job. And I was told that the reason that I lost my job was I had helped to create an automation system. And the automations, basically, we had to eliminate some jobs. And my job is the job that was eliminated through the automation. How do you help? I led this project. I led the project. And I worked myself out of a job. But then turn around and find out that they hired someone else in my place. You don't eliminate a job that you still need. So they eliminated me. And I'm like, okay. But the way that it was done They wanted me to train this person. They wanted me to attend meetings and basically talk over me as if I didn't exist. And like basically, I was replaced while I was still working there. I had to work there for some time before, at at least a month, almost 2 months before my job end date came. I did get a severance package. That was great, but there was a boatload of humiliation that went with all of this. I was not treated very well, not treated fairly, um, and it wasn't good. So here I am again, 2020. I hit a rock bottom. I went into depression, and I didn't share it with everybody. I didn't talk about it. I tend to hold things in. I tend to smile through it all and act like everything is okay. I tend to, put I don't know what it's called, but basically try to be superwoman through it all. I know there's a name for that. When I find out, I'll come back and let you know. But I try to be superwoman through it all and fight through it all and push through it all, and it just got the best of me all through the remainder of 2020. This was like from November 2020 and into 2021. Excuse me. So I had been searching for a job for months, couldn't find anything. I had gone to several different jobs, and 2021 just wasn't so great because I'm now kind of on a rebound of losing my job, losing the home I was buying, and having to drop out of school. And so now my money's a little strange because I don't have the opportunity to make extra money like I did at work, where I could do overtime and things like that. And um, I, it just, it was different. So 2021 was a struggle. It was a really hard struggle for me, and I fought through it. Finally, towards the end of 2021, decided to pick myself up and not be in my rut. Like I was a wake up at 5 a.m. person every single day. Went to the gym every single day. Posted my motivational posts every day, multiple times a day. I'm a text the group positive, inspirational messages person. I am a always singing, writing something, always trying to do something type of a person. That was dead in 2021. I feel like I died. And I don't mean, and I hope that doesn't sound offensive, but I mean my spirit was broken. Like broken. I had been single for years at that point, from 2017 all the way through to 2021, and dating and just failed. I don't even know if you want to call it relationship, because it was just a bunch of situationships just trying to figure things out. One failed after another, after another, after another. And I decided, Martina, date you. I started buying myself flowers every day. Not every day, excuse me. That's a lie. Every week. I started when my flowers were, it was time to change the flowers at the end of the week and get new ones. I take the flowers and put the petals in a bubble bath, put oils and, essential oils and all the different things in my bubble bath, and like pamper me, put candles all around. I had never had anybody do anything like that for me. I know there's a lot of women who did, man, he lays the rose petals. I've never had anybody do that for me. So I started doing it for myself. Take the rose petals and make a trail in my own house to myself. And put them in the bathtub and put them on my bed. And I started being more messy because my mind was a mess. So I'm like, no, let me get this together. I started making projects to straighten things up and put things in order and get things where I want them to be and move things around. And I'm hard on my kids. Like, no, enough is enough again. So here I am. It is now 2022. My 6-month accountability book. And I said all of that to tell you this. You are not alone. You've struggled. I've struggled. We struggled. I am now on a journey upward. And I'm not on a journey to be perfect. I'm not on a journey to be the strongest woman in the world, to be a superhero. I'm not. I'm not on a journey to be somebody's role model. I'm just on a journey to be better. I'm just on a journey to be happy. My body is not where I want it to be. My uh spirituality, I'm not in the place that I want to be. My relationships are not where I would like for them to be. Friends, family, whatever. None of it is where I really want it to be. But I want better. There has to be more. So, this is the introduction to my journey. I ordered my own copy of my book. And for whatever reason, it's not here yet. It is on Amazon, but when the author orders, like you don't order Prime. So it takes a little while. I could have done the Express, but I didn't. I'm thinking, it'll be here in a little bit. But it's not. It's taking a little while. I have a couple of friends who have my book before I do, and they really like it. But hopefully the next time that you see me on here, I am showing you the book, and I'm showing you progress, and I'm showing you how I'm working through it. And I'm inviting you on this journey to work with me. Let's build a better you. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like 2022, do you, boo? Or I don't know, some cliche phrase, a better you in 22. That works. Better you in 22. So I want a better me, and I want you to have a better you too. So welcome to the world of TinaBeana. Welcome to my page. Welcome to my journey. I'm going to be praying for you. I am going to try and help boost you, because what I'm doing is not just for you, it's for me. So, you think people get on these videos and they're telling you what to know. I'm talking to me when I'm talking to you, really. And I'm giving myself something to look back on. And not just me, my kids. I want to create a guide for my kids. So when I'm not around, and I know that that's going to happen one day, when I'm not around, they have something to look back to, some type of a guidance. So I wish you all the best. It's TinaBeana signing out. Welcome to my world. Peace.